Hello everyone and welcome to the finals of the Goldmoney Asian Rapid Tournament. And actually today was the second day of the finals. Yesterday was final day number 1. And today actually we know who won this event. Spoiler, it's not Magnus Carlsen, but it's Levon Aronian. Well, in the semifinals, Levon Aronian won his match against Carlsen, and so now he plays the final against Artemiev. And actually yesterday in the finals day 2, he played an amazing match and he was able to get up by 1 point. So today was the finals day 2, and it's amazing because Levon Aronian, he won 2 games in a row, which is really rare on this level. And while I'm recording this, Magnus Carlsen and Ding Liren are fighting for the 3rd place. But okay, without further ado, let's have a look at the game. This is the game that actually made Aronian win this tournament. So this is really a big game. At this point, Aronian is leading with 2 points on Artemiev. He won this game as well with white. d4, and now immediately the sharp reply by Artemiev, which is g6, the modern defense. Basically, Artemiev really wants to win the game since he is down by 2 points. So this is very sharp, of course. We have e4, bishop g7, knight f3. Till now this is all very standard stuff. d6, and now an interesting choice by Levon Aronian. We have c3, which is known as the Galler's system. It's actually named after the Grandmaster F.M. Galler. We have knight f6. Okay, this is all standard stuff. Let's go. c5, trying to break in the center. Now h3, just securing this square on g4. Queen c7, rook e1, developing pieces. e5, developing even more pieces. And now b6. Of course, this bishop needs to get into the game as well as secure this point on c5, knight bd2, knight c6, rook to c1. And as you can see, actually white has developed all of his pieces, and so now he has to start and try and create some plan. We have rook to e8, and now d5, taking space in the center of the board. Knight e7, and of course white needs a plan in this position. White plays a very nice move. In this position you can grab more space with something like a4, but actually what white does is very nice. He strikes in the center with this move b4, trying to create some tension in the center. Knight d7, protecting this point on c5, and now knight to f1. In the interview after the game, Aronian said that he thought that this would have been a mistake, and actually his feeling was right. He could have played something like knight to c4, simply a little bit more active, putting some more pressure on d6, which is weak. But okay, Aronian went for this move, which is still just a very nice move. He has some plans of rerouting the knight to the king's side because, as you will see, he will attack the black king. c4, taking more space in the center of the board, bishop c2, and now f5. What has Aronian prepared after this move? He takes on f5, and now Artemiev pretty much makes his first mistake of the game, which is to take with the g-pawn. White is free to play this move, which is bishop to g5. What he should have played is knight takes. It's better not to take with the pawn, but actually with the knight. It's very interesting. So I play these structures myself, and so usually it's better to take back with the pawn if the knight is not really able to, for example, go to d4. Usually if you take back with the knight, you want to reroute the knight there in the center. In this case it's not possible because white has played c3. You would think like, okay, f5 is the best. The problem is in this case bishop g5 is very strong. This is a very natural reaction because after something like knight takes, the drawback is that black loses control over the point on e4, even though the knight is also attacking the bishop, which is also nice. The good thing about taking with the pawn is that if you look closely, now actually black controls all of these squares, including this one, which is very key usually in these sorts of modern / King's Indian positions. But anyway, what happens is bishop g5, very nice move, e4, and it looks like black played pretty well. He played this move, he opened up his bishop. He plays a genius move, which is knight to g3. Wow, this move is really nice. So he doesn't even care about this knight because what will happen is he wants to put pressure on f5 because f5 is loose. Let's have a look. After this recapture, the problem is that white can put pressure on this pawn, and this is exactly why taking back with the pawn was not so good. Now actually this pawn is loose. Black makes another mistake by taking this knight, and so you would think like, okay, it's pretty obvious, so now we can trade material probably, right? Where you take back with the bishop or the rook. Well, Aronian says, no, I don't do that, but I put even more pressure on these pieces, not only with the bishop and the rook, but now also with the knight. And it's very interesting because this is not only activating the knight, knight, but actually also the bishop, and there is also a lot of potential for this queen to somehow come in the game, as we will see. But actually this looks like a mistake, because can't black play this move, which is knight to e5, interfering this file? Can't he do that? And so Artemiev tries it. The problem is Aronian calculated everything. What he does is he first takes the bishop, because the bishop is protecting this knight, and actually what Aronian wants to do is he wants to take this knight with his rook, and that's his plan. So first he needs to take this bishop, and afterwards he will take this knight, and after that he can actually play this move, which is d6. So it's a very complex tactic. It's first taking the bishop, then taking the knight, and now forking both the queen and the knight with the pawn, and so winning back material. And even though black is now up a full rook, actually this guy isn't doing anything at the moment. This actually doesn't matter too much, because as you can see, white's two bishops are just all over the place. Okay, let's have a look. Queen to d7. Aronian doesn't even care. He doesn't even take this knight, because taking this knight would potentially allow a queen trade, which Aronian doesn't want. So what he does is he takes on f3, which is very nice, because now he doesn't only threaten stuff like queen to f6, but also he's attacking the rook in the corner. We have knight to g6, which is protecting against various threats against the black king, but now Aronian simply takes this rook and he thanks Artemiev for the free material. The only thing which is very important, which Levon Aronian had to calculate, was, is this queen not trapped? But Aronian calculated everything perfectly. After bishop to b7, queen takes, and queen to c6, it looks like, what? This rook is coming. Is this not a mistake by Aronian? Of course not. He's in top shape. At this point, Aronian has only used like a few minutes of his time. f3, simply protecting against the threat of queen takes on g2. And now rook to a8. It looks like, isn't the queen trapped? No, he calculated d7. Wow, this is amazing. Problem is, after rook takes queen, white will promote to another queen. What Artemiev does is he takes the pawn. But now, as you can see, the queen lost protection over this pawn, and now we can take the pawn. So that's the whole idea. And the problem for black in this position is that he isn't only down multiple pawns, but actually this bishop pair is way too strong. Rook a6, queen e3, simply returning to a safe place for the queen. He takes this pawn, okay, he wins the pawn back, but still white is up 2 pawns. Now rook to d1, attacking the queen, queen e6, and now queen to c5. I really like this move. He's simply saying, well, you can have my bishop. I prefer activity, and more than activity, actually what he's threatening is he's threatening to win the bishop, as well as attacking the king, as well as after this move coming in with the rook. And actually only in 5 moves, black will resign the game. So what do we have? We have rook to c2, now queen to c7 check. Aronian simply wants to trade pieces, right? The rook came down to c2 and he simply wants to take this bishop. King g8 and white takes the bishop. And now already this looks very difficult, like this rook is coming down there. A prophylactic move, which is knight to f8, rook d8, and now actually it's just hopeless for black. White can play stuff like this. Also simply bishop to e7, which happened in the game, putting pressure on this knight, and the knight is undefensible. Greedy, he takes a pawn, but okay, both players know it's all over now. Bishop to e7, and white will win the knight on f8. It's pretty funny, because also this is something they say, with a knight on f8 you never go mate. In this case it's not exactly true. But okay, we have another check, but actually after this it's pretty much hopeless. This knight will be taken with either the rook or the bishop, and this will be made very, very soon. Okay, so it's very interesting. Aronian won the Goldmoney Asian Rapid. It's pretty nice that today, like these online tournaments, they have some huge prize money and everything for their players. I think it's because chess is attracting more and more sponsors, which is also nice for the game, the development of the game. And it's nice to see that, I mean, a so-called underdog, right, like Aronian is actually able to win such a big tournament, right? Okay, he's still one of the big boys. He won, for example, the World Cup, which is an event that's coming up soon. He won that already twice in his life. He is 38 years old. You can consider him as one of the old guys. But actually today he proved that he's in top shape, and I mean, he's definitely one of the guys that you will need to look out for in the future. So remember his name. Levon Aronian. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!